Welcome back to the Always Reading Book Club. It is your girl Kiki Reader, and we're going to do a one and done today. Now, this comes from a series that's called Second Service. It's by author Adrienne Bell, but each one of the books in the series can be done as a standalone, and so that's how we're going to do today's book, which is called The Wedding Trap. We meet Beth, and she's at a hotel called the Kensington, which is in San Francisco. Her best friend Isabel is getting married in a few days, and so they're doing some last minute alterations to Isabel's wedding dress. And Beth is talking about how she thinks it might be time to permanently get rid of Charlie. Well, Charlie's not a real person. Charlie is a made up boyfriend that she has been telling her mother about and a few others for quite a few months. She's thinking it might be time to get rid of him, but at the same time, she doesn't really want to deal with her mother constantly trying, one of those constantly trying to meddle into the personal life, feeling like if you don't have anyone, you're incomplete. She's one of those type of parents. So Isabel is kind of shocked by her saying she's considering doing this. And she tells her, well, why not just do it after the wedding? Because she's going to really be at you if you say you're going to go to a wedding and you're not going to have a date, right? It's going to piss her off and she's going to get on a tangent about it. And then she thinks about it. She's like, yeah, I think you're right. She gets a call from her mother. She ignored it, but her mother called right back. So she calls her mother back. She's like, hey, Mom. And she's like, what room are you in? Where are you? So they were in the lobby, her mother and her father. And I guess they had just gone to their room. The father was still in the room. The mother was downstairs in the lobby. She wanted to come up to where Isabel and Beth were. Beth did not want her around Isabel because, if you have a parent that is probably not the best parent, this is a beautiful time for your best friend. You don't want to drag her into the crap. Even though she knows what's really going on between you and your mother, I don't think she wants to drag her into it. So she tells her mother, I'll meet you in the lobby in 5 minutes for a drink. So she runs off and the elevator's taking too long. It's an older building, really classic looking, but everything doesn't necessarily run quickly, So she decides, you know what, I'll probably be faster if I take the stairs. So she takes the stairs and she runs into what feels like a wall, but it's not a wall. It is a beautiful man with beautiful blue eyes. Looks like he's about over 6 feet. Just a wonderful specimen. Her purse flies everywhere. All of her stuff flies out. And the guy, is saying, oh, I'm sorry. She's saying she's sorry. She's saying, it's my fault. I didn't see you. She's like, I'm on my way to meet my mom and I wasn't paying attention. And he's just kind of like, yeah, moms can do that to you, X, Y, and Z. So she was staring at him for a moment because he was just that gorgeous. So eventually she gets to her mom. And her mother's arms are crossed. She's sitting down. She's pissed. She tells her mom, she had an accident in the stairwell. And her mom is just like, whatever, She's just pissed that she made her wait. So she's like, do you want me to go ahead and get you a drink? And the mother's like, oh, I don't need you to get me a drink. Someone's already handling that for me. She looks up. It's her ex, Spencer. So she, of course, says to her mom, why would you ask him to get you a drink? And she's like, well, he offered. And she says, he couldn't have been that bad. I mean, your best friend is marrying his brother. Now, this is where I think I would have unleashed on a parent. I think I would have unleashed. She broke up. Well, her and the guy broke up 6 months ago. He's really sleazy. Okay. He apparently had told her that if she lost a couple pounds, they maybe could have worked it out. And her mother says to her, well, a few pounds isn't that much. I would have unleashed. I would have unleashed. So there's no protection of your daughter. Like, this is a crappy person to your daughter. I'm not saying, listen, and listen, this is not me saying that you should never be able to say to a person they need to lose weight. I'm not saying that at all. But he's mean. And he's clearly been mean to her. And the mother to take his side is what's trash. You know? Like, this person makes my daughter feel bad. That should enrage you. But it doesn't. You just see it as you're getting older and you let a guy get away. That's insane. So then the Spencer guy comes up and he's saying, oh, I see you checked in by yourself. Why the fuck are you checking on me? Why are you looking into what I got going on? That doesn't make sense. But see, the mother takes it as, well, he's clearly still interested in you. That's why he's doing it. Is it really? Or is it he's just that devilish that he wants to make her feel bad that she's not with someone? So we find out he's been dating. You know, a week after they broke up, he was dating, prancing people around. So I think it's more so a thing with him of, I clearly didn't feel it. You clearly felt much more for me than I did for you because you have been able to move on. Because she hasn't really been dating anyone, whereas he's been able to date plenty of people. But again, why would any of this shit matters if I'm not what you wanted, right? I'm speaking as Beth. If I'm not what you wanted, you shouldn't care if I've moved on or not. It shouldn't bother you. You should be happy that you're able to go screw and talk to whoever you want, and you shouldn't be worried about me. But it's the idea that he's still clocking what she's doing, but it's to be mean. It's not out of, well, I think I messed up, I think I might have made a mistake. It's none of that. It's just to be fucking mean to her. And the fact that the mom can't see it, she just, oh my gosh, she pisses me off. I do not like the mother, and I do not like Spencer. We then switch to the guy that she ran into in the stairwell, and we find out his name is Alex. You know I love when they switch POVs. So he's headed to the parking lot, walking up to a shiny red BMW. He's checking the cars of different people that are like the innermost important people, the wedding guests, like the maid of honor, the best man, like those of whom are closest to the bride and groom. He's already checked the best man's his suite or room, and he checked the bridesmaid's room, which is actually Beth's room. But he hasn't been able to look through the bride's room because Isabel has been in her room all day. So Alex is there because he's gotten intel that Isabel's uncle, Salvatore, is in town to buy intelligence on the U.S. strategic oil reserves, can't talk, from a leak in the CIA. So Isabel's family is from Venezuela, and she doesn't have a lot of contact with them. Her mother's here. I want to say her father's here. They're in the U.S. But the rest of her family she really doesn't deal with too much. So he is walking up to this Beamer, looking around, and then Beth comes up to him and says, "This isn't your car." And he, of course, is like, "Yes, it is. It is my car." And she's like, "No, it's not, because I know the jerk it belongs to." Well, this is Spencer's car. So he was thinking that she was going to get upset, but at the same time, he also thought she was going to freak out, but she didn't. She told him, I got mugged a few years ago, so if you're a real criminal, you would have already pushed me down. So this kind of made him upset, the idea that something like that could have happened to her, you know? And she's like, well, maybe you can help me out with something. So she tells him an idea. She's like, I just need 5 minutes. That's all I need from you. I need you to pretend that you're my boyfriend, Charlie. And he just goes, okay. She, of course, is like, he agreed to that? That fast, you know? Well, we soon find out, we know, she doesn't know, that he's CIA. He's there to find the leak. So he apparently is working with the Department of Homeland Security to try and catch this guy, Salvatore, Isabel's uncle. So he's down for this because, okay, this gives me some more access to the people that are in the, inner circle of the wedding. So that's why he was so quick to be like, yeah, I'll do it. So he's walking towards the building with her. She tells him, okay, your name's Charlie Parker. You're a music exec. You travel all the time. You're on your way out of town now. And so he goes, okay. And she tells him, it's not just my mom. It's also Spencer, who's my ex. Um, what is it? The Jordans. I think those are Spencer and Jordan's. Not the Jordans. Jordan is Spencer's brother. So Jordan is the one that Isabel is actually marrying. So they are all down there. Like everybody's down there when she comes in with this Charlie Parker. So he introduces himself. He's Charlie Parker. He schmoozes the mom. Spencer's looking at him all skeptical. And then old boy drops a bomb on her. He says that he's going to be staying because he's been neglecting her and she's more important. So he's going to stay the weekend. So now Beth is freaking out. And everybody's looking at her. And I'm just thinking, like, you probably want to chill because then they're going to know something's wrong, you know? You need to play along. So then they wind up leaving and going upstairs. Before they go up and get in the elevator, he like pulls her in for like this really passionate kiss. It seems very believable, right? They get to the room and she of course is like, what are you doing? She's like, it was only supposed to be for 5 minutes. He's like, well, I figure we can help each other out this weekend. He doesn't let her know what he needs. He just says we can help each other. He says, and then I'll go. So he's willing to go to the wedding events, everything she needs. And she's like, okay, this is too much. She's trying to figure out what it is that he needs. Like, why is he sticking around? So she just caught him trying to break into a car. And now he's agreed to stay with you basically for the whole weekend. She is trying to figure out, okay, what exactly is it that he's trying to get? However, she also can tell he's not going to tell her. So she figures, you know what? Screw it. I might as well go along with it. So she agrees. And when he's about to go get his stuff, she says to him, how did you know we were on the second? How did you know I was on the second floor? Because as soon as they got in the elevator, he hit the number 2. And he just says, lucky guess, and walks out. So now we switch back to our girl, Beth. They're at dinner. Charlie, a.k.a. Alex, is being an absolute charming guy. The mother is eating it up. She goes to the restroom. Isabel follows her. Isabel, of course, is like, where did you find him? So basically, Isabel thinks he's a gigolo. And Beth lets her believe it. I mean, honestly, what else are you going to say? You know what I mean? So then Isabel's mom comes in and they're crying because they're having a moment because they were talking about the wedding. And whenever they talk about the wedding, Beth starts to cry. And then right before the mom came in, they were talking and Isabel was like, I don't know why you keep doing this. Like, What are you trying to prove? She's like, she wants to prove her mother wrong, and she's also wanting to one up Spencer. And she's like, but why? Spencer's awful, you know? And she's like, I just want to be able to one up him one time. And I'm like, that's the problem. You are worried about the wrong things, and now look at you. Now the man's hot, you know, he's fine, but now you're engrossed in like a bunch of lies based upon the fact that you're not able to say what the truth is because of what the response is going to be from two people. That to me, I mean, your parent, I get it, you love your parent, they wouldn't matter to you, but that ex-boyfriend should not matter to her at all. And it's effed up that the parent is making you feel like you've got to keep up this stupid facade as well. You know what I mean? Like, you got to appear that, you know, you got it together, you got options, you got someone in order to keep them off your back. I mean, I get a parent not wanting their child to be alone. I get that. But if that's the path that they're going to take, that's the path they're going to take. I'd rather for the child to be alone than for the child to be with someone who's going to make them feel awful about themselves, which is clearly who and what Spencer is. So, again, the mama can kick rocks. I don't like her. So, when she goes back out, old Charlie, aka Alex, he's gone, right? So everyone else finishes dinner. She's not ready to go up, so she decides she's gonna stay, go to the bar, have a drink. Well, then our boy Charlie, aka Alex, comes up, and he just has a club soda. He buys her a couple cosmopolitans. She didn't eat that much during dinner, um, and so we get a little backdrop of this Charlie Parker. This girl has been using Charlie as a scapegoat since middle school. So when a guy she liked asked someone else to the middle school dance, she said, oh, that's fine. She was going to go with somebody who lived in the next town over. Well, he couldn't make it because he was in karate and he had an event that weekend. So every now and then she pulls out this name, you know, and it keeps her from having to deal with more crap than what she probably would have dealt with. So now that we see she's been doing this for so long, I, it's so sad, you know? But it's like it's been working, right? It's gotten people off of her back. Now, thankfully, she ain't been telling her mother, Charlie Parker, all this time. But different times with different things, she said this name and it gets her out of trouble, right? Or not trouble, but it gets people from asking her too many questions. So it does what it's supposed to do. But what happens with this is you got to create all these different realities, aka you're lying, and then you got to remember the crap. It just seems like too much, you know? It's just, even after she told him this story, like, he still didn't reveal anything about himself. So then she's like, okay, you know, she's ready to go upstairs. So they go up to the room, but this time they didn't go to the second floor. He got them a suite. He got rid of her room and got a suite. So this is a really nice room. It's got this panoramic view of what he wants to see, which is of the parking lot for both the guests and the housekeeping staff. So it also has a couch. It's got this claw bathtub, which she's always wanted to take a bath in. So, of course, in her mind, it's stirring up thoughts. Um, his mind is stirring up some thoughts as well because he does feel a pull towards her. He's just not quite sure why he feels like this. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be pretty interesting. So she falls asleep in the bed. He's asleep on the couch. She wakes up around 3 something in the morning. Can't go back to sleep. So after tossing for like an hour or so, she decides she's going to walk around the hotel. So the little cafe place where she could get some coffee wasn't going to open for like another 15 minutes. So she kept wandering around and she winds up going near the pool, pretty close to like where the laundry area is. And she sees Isabel's uncle, Salvatore, and some pale white man having an exchange where this guy is giving him this yellow envelope. So she's backing up. Of course, she doesn't pay attention where she is, and she crashes into a chair. They see her. Salvatore looks like he's ready to take her out right then and there. And the other guy is like, not here. So she goes and gets coffee, goes to the room. She decides she's not going to tell anybody what she saw. She's going to leave her alone. It's not her business. So when she gets back to the room, old boy Charlie, aka Alex, opens the door, and he apparently heard her leave. And she said how, she couldn't sleep, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, all right, he says he's going to take a shower. And he's walking away and he's taking his shirt off. She, of course, is just gawking at him. And he doesn't turn around. He just goes ahead and goes in the bathroom. And then she kind of starts want to poke around in this bag because it's the only thing he's brought with him. And it's the zipper's open, and she was about to like just open it all the way up, and then she decided, no, that's not right. I'm not going to do that. Then she almost rationalized it. She was kind of like, well, he did take my stuff. He could have went through my stuff, but then again, more than likely, he had housekeeping do it. So she decides she's not going to just open it up, but what she does do is she drops her coffee cup so that way she can peek inside when she goes to pick up her coffee cup. And she sees the barrel of a gun. So now she's freaking out. He pops up with a towel around his waist. He asks, is everything okay? She's like, everything's fine. He clearly can tell something's not okay, but he just takes the bag, everything's in place, and that's that. So he's like, are you sure it's not something you want to ask me? And she says, nope, not at all. So she asks him, though, is she safe? And he's like, you're safe. Your family's safe. Everyone's safe. And she's like, okay. Alex, aka Charlie, so he's in the lobby and he's basically waiting for Beth to come through with Isabel because they had a spa day and with the other bridesmaids, and so they're gonna have to come through this way, you know. So he was doing a little recon, but nothing really was happening that day, so it's fine. Um, he did startle her, and he wants to give her some kind of reassurance, like that everything's gonna be okay. So when she comes, Spencer and Jordan come over as well. Spencer's being his normal jerk of a self, pretty much insinuating that he's going to be looking into Alex a little bit more. So they're having their little back and forth. Um, Isabel was sending Beth on an errand to the floral shop. And so Charlie, aka Alex, is like, okay, I'll come with you. And she's like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, I know, but I want to. So he goes with her to the errand. She, of course, is acting kind of weird with him. And she asks him again, like, why are you doing this? Like, what's the point? And she admits to him that she's been thinking about him. And that's what he picks up on. He says, oh, you can't stop thinking about me? And that, of course, infuriated her. So she decides she's just going to go back to the hotel after she finished. She did her whatever she needed to do for our girl, Isabel. She starts walking back fast, right? So he can keep up with her, no problem. But then he sees someone coming towards her. She sees this person too, so she moves to the side, but the person moves too. And then she sees a shiny little barrel and realizes this person is about to try and take her out. So Charlie, like aka Alex, yells her name and pushes her out of the way into an alley, and then him and the guy fight. He winds up having to kill the guy. She freaks out. Of course, like she just saw a dead body. So then he takes the body, throws it in the dumpster, puts some trash over it, takes his phone out, calls, gives some numbers. She, of course, is like, what just really happened? Like, shouldn't we call the police? He's like, I already took care of it, you know? And he's like, we need to go. We don't know how many other people are watching or if they're coming for us. And so now she's really in a hurry to get back to the hotel. They get to the room. She is freaking out, but she's like, if I can get to the room, I'll feel safe again. They were going to take the elevator, but it was taking too long, so she takes the stairs. But I just kind of felt like in the I don't know, elevators in the lobby kind of public, but then again they were on the street, that's public too, and the person was going to take you out. But the staircase is more secluded. So I don't know if I would think that was the best thing to do. But that's what they did. And she finally gets up to the room. She lets herself unleash and she just cries. And Alex doesn't try to stop her. He just lets her get it all out. So then she's like, the guy must have been after you. Like, what's going on? Like, why would a guy be And he's like, no, the guy was not after me. He was after you. He's like, what do you know? She, of course, kept doing the, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Then she says, does this have something to do with his Uncle Salvatore? And I would have thought that would have sparked something in her memory from what happened that morning, but it didn't. She still kept saying, I don't know anything. So eventually, Charlie, aka Alex, tells his true name, which is Alex Tanner, and he tells her that he's with the CIA. He's here on a mission. And then another agent comes in, Agent Ryman. Now, he's with Homeland Security. They were in the Navy SEALs together, and they remain cool. They're still friends. They're actually friends. So he's there. They're trying to get to the bottom of it. Eventually, she tells them what she saw that morning, and they tell her, oh, so there's a leak in the CIA. They can't leak the information like any type of, techie way. I'm going to say it that way. They can't do it. So it's got to be in paper form. That's the reason that was that envelope she saw. So now it made sense of what she had heard when they said not here. So they're telling her, okay, basically, these are the options. You can either go in witness protection because they're not going to stop until they get you. She's like, I can't do that. Like, Isabel's getting married. And they try to put in her mind that, Isabel could be a part of that. They're not saying she is, but they're not ruling her out because she is Salvatore's niece. So she, of course, is upset because she's like, there's no way my best friend would do that. I'm her maid of honor. There's no way. So Agent Ryman's like, he wants to use her as bait to kind of lure Salvatore out. Because if she keeps coming around like everything's normal, they're probably going to get a little sloppy trying to take her out. So Alex is like, okay, I don't like that, right? Like, this is not going to work for me. He's like, that's not safe. So he's terrified. You got to think, he did tell the girl, like, you're safe. You're going to, it's going to be okay. And now you're talking about using her as bait. But the truth is, they've already created the perfect cover, which is that's her boyfriend. So this way she has someone protecting her 24/7 on top of whoever else out there is watching. So Alex and Ryman go off and talk about it. Alex is so against this because it puts her in jeopardy, and he prefers something that has her a lot more safer, where she can go into witness protection, and they can't get to her. But I'm like, if there's a leak in the CIA, y'all still don't know who the fuck it is. So even if you take her somewhere else, they're going to have access to wherever you fucking take her. So to me, the only viable option, and viable is coming from the fact that, yes, I am watching The Good Doctor. It's a great show. But anyway, I think that's the best one. So anyway, eventually he caves because that's the best option. There's really no other way to do it. Her all of a sudden disappearing into witness protection would raise so many issues because they're at an event already. There's too many people that know she's here, and all of a sudden she just disappeared. That's just going to cause a lot of problems. So that's not really an option, especially being that you don't know who the leak is, but she's actually seen him. So she gives them a description of who he is, but unfortunately that matches a ton of people. It could be anybody, but she still can, identify him. So Alex and Ryman come back in, and she had already made up her mind she wasn't going anywhere because her mind was, what if they try and use someone in my family or one of my friends to like hurt them to get to me, and she can't bear that. So it just wasn't even an option for her. So then Ryman's about to leave out, and he's like, if there's anything, I can do for you. And she's like, can I get a cheeseburger with bacon? He's like, what? She's like, I almost got killed today. I think I deserve it. So the Ryman says to Alex, because they walked off, he says, if you make it through this, you should marry her. So she's enjoying her burger. Um, Agent Ryman, he's left. He brought up the two burgers, but Alex wasn't eating. He's just watching her, and she looks so tired. So he tells her go take a nap. So she does. They had a little conversation. I forgot about this. They had a conversation. She's trying to apologize to him because she's like, basically, this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't stumbled into what I saw, you know? So she feels responsible. And I feel bad for her because I feel like she will take on that guilt or whatever it is, the worst thing, because it's been pounded into her for so long. So I feel really bad for her. But he's like, it's not your fault. It's not, And he tells her, go to sleep. So she's late waking up. He could have woken her up, but he said she needed rest. She had missed calls from her mom, missed texts from Isabel. So she texts her, I'll be down in 15 minutes. Gets herself ready, goes down. Everyone's kind of looking at them, and Spencer comes over, and he's drunk. And he says, Charlie, I did some research, and a Charlie Parker doesn't work for this, whatever the name of the record company was. And he's like, when I tell you, that just irks me. But he said something really rude to Beth, pretty much let her know that he knows that she paid for it. Like, he knows this is a gigolo. And I'm like, well, how the F would he come to that conclusion except for if Isabel's ass, must have said something. So now I'm looking at Isabel sideways, and I'm kind of wondering, was that a setup? Because she sent her to the flower shop. Oh gosh, now I think she probably did it. She got something to do with this. I don't. Well, then she talks to Isabel, and we find out Isabel's ass told Jordan, and Jordan said something to his brother Spencer. So again, I'm like, y'all know this person is trash. Why would you give that man ammunition against her? I don't like that. I'm just looking at everybody sideways because that's just awful. Like, even if you thought that, and I mean, yeah, you should be able to tell your fiance stuff, but at the same time, you should have told him, please don't say anything to Spencer, because he's just gonna say something really nasty to, like, there's a way you should have said something to him, but I don't know. I don't like it. The mother comes over. She's looking at Charlie, aka Alex, with like this whole stinky face because, of course, Spencer has been telling her what he believes to be true, which is this is a gigolo, right? So she kind of gets mad at her mom, like, why do you believe everything that he tells you? Like, why? You know? Like, why do you always assume the worst with me? And she says, because usually that's the case. And I say, this bitch. See, this mom is fucking trash. Well, eventually Spencer walks off and Salvatore walks in. So now Beth is freaking out, okay? He's telling her everything's gonna be okay. He's telling her to be calm. You know, there's people here, there's people outside, we have eyes we're good. We're safe. She couldn't get it together. Girl's trying to lift up her wine glass, shaking so bad it dripped on her dress. Can't calm down. So then he says something funny to her. No, he tells her, say something funny to me. Or say something to me that'll make me that, or something like he said something to make her blush. And then he started talking to her dirty, and that got her riled up, and it worked because the Salvatore guy, he never came over, which Alex did tell her he's not going to come over here, you know. But he's also not going to stop staring at us either. And he kept giving this murderous look at her. Alex takes her away, and she's so riled up. She's thinking like, oh my gosh, she said all this stuff like he meant it, you know. But then when he took her away, he kind of told her, I told you everything's fine, we have people everywhere. And then she realized he did that to calm her down. But the truth was, it really wasn't just to calm her down. He really was saying the shit that he felt, right? The stuff that he wanted to do to her. So when they get upstairs to the room, um, they wind up kissing and having this extremely passionate kiss. And after that, they had a nice hard fuck. Girl didn't even want to go off to sleep. She wanted to just stay in that moment. And I'm like, girl, I understand when you have some good. That is how you be. But she was so tired, she wound up just drifting off to sleep still. So the next morning, she wakes up. Her phone is ringing. It's Isabel. She missed the breakfast. They were on their way to MoMA, which is the Museum of Modern Art, and she was like, um, "You're okay. I already covered for you with your mom and stuff like that." She's like, "Can you just enjoy your day? Just make sure you're at the rehearsal this evening at 6." She's like, "Sure, no problem. I'll be there." She gets off the phone. Alex is like, "What all did she say?" And she just told her, "Okay." She just told me to make sure I'm there for the event. So they spend the day in the lobby, kind of making her bait, but nothing happened. 5:30 ish winds up coming, and she asked if maybe she can go to the balcony, get some sun, kind of see the sunset, things like that. So um, Agent Ryman goes and takes her, and not too long after, Spencer's ass comes up, and he's acting as if he's concerned about her, but then he cuts her down the very next moment, and he's like, I mean, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. And then he said something about how, um what did he say? Something about he wanted to know if she was sorry for what she did, and she's like, what did I do? I didn't do anything, you know. And he's like, you pretty much hired someone just to try and one up me. And then he's like, we can talk about maybe getting back together later. And I'm like, get back together? Like, what the hell? Like, this dude is delusional, but he is the type of person, he's awful, but it's also that little boy syndrome of, I don't have the toy anymore and now I want to play with the fucking toy because I see somebody else with the fucking toy, you know? But, because if she went back to him, he'd just treat her like shit. Because I'm like, he doesn't make a really, great plea to try and get you back. Like, he still treats you like shit, even in this process. So she, of course, is like, that can't happen because I'm already with someone, you know. And he says we can discuss it after the dinner party, and she's like, no, we don't. So then Alex comes in, and she says, I have plans already, and she leaves. And Agent Ryman is like, tough break, dude. They do the whole rehearsal. Um, he made sure, of course, to be extremely close to her wherever she was. Afterwards, the mom comes up to her right in front of Alex, and it's just like, I can't believe you're still doing this. You're embarrassing yourself. And she again says, why, you just believe the worst in me. She's just awful. We get a little backdrop too, and we find out that she has a sister, Beth does, named Chelsea, and she's like the perfect daughter. She went to private school, whereas for college, whereas Beth went to state. Chelsea's married, has two children. She's an attorney. Beth is, in real retail. So to her mother, she's just a complete disappointment. And this is just sad because it's like this has been this way since she was born. She's always felt like she's second and she can never make up the momentum. She never can. So that's a prime example. That's why I say she's an awful parent, because it's like you have, just because two people came from the same mother and father does not mean they're going to be the same type of person. And the fact that they won't allow her to be who she is crap. You don't know if Chelsea's happy or not. You just know Chelsea married and got two kids and she got a good job. That don't equate to happiness. So she goes upstairs to freshen up in the room. Her and Alex have a little moment of truth. He admits that his mother passed away when he was young. She was a drunk. And they had gotten into an argument, and she left in the car and, of course, was found later wrapped around a tree. So they're heading back down. A waiter kind of cuts them off with a cart. Alex, of course, is in defense mode, and he automatically jacks the guy up, and the guy has to beg him to put him down. And Beth is like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He didn't mean to. It's okay. And the guy says, like, "What are you?" And I'm wondering, like, okay, I wonder if this was a possible attempt. I don't know. I'm just wondering. Everyone's a suspect now. Everyone. So they're running, and Agent Ryman, we find out there's a fresh new hit that has been put out on Beth, but they don't know who the person is. They don't know who contracted it. They just know they have got to be on high alert. So they get to the rehearsal dinner. Isabel says, a really sweet speech. They head back upstairs. They take the elevator. She decides she wants to kiss him, and so she takes his face, and she does. And he's ready to take her right there in the elevator, but then he's like, no, he wants to do it right. So they get up to the room. She wants him in the tub, so he runs a warm bath for her, and they have this wonderful fun in the tub. Before they got in the tub, though, he ate her pussy, and then afterwards he puts on a shirt, some boxers. There's a knock on the door. They say they're room service. The person's like, it's dessert. Alex says, we didn't order dessert. And the person says, oh, it's from John Ryman. He said you left early and he wanted you to have some. So he's got his hand on his gun, but he lets the guy in. And it's that same waiter that they had ran into earlier who had that he had jacked up. So, of course, when the guy came in, he pulled the gun out, pulled it on Beth, but she did have enough sense to duck, so he didn't get her. Alex and the guy kept fighting. Alex was able to get the gun away from him. The waiter slash second assassin, this one, of course, was a lot better trained. He got a good couple licks on Alex. So finally, she was able to get the gun, but she couldn't shoot because they were fighting, so she couldn't get a good shot. Not that she was a great aimer anyway. So then Alex eventually gets the best of the waiter slash we're just gonna call him the assassin, and tells her to get his phone, call John. She does. She's crying. Didn't even realize she was crying until she's like, we need help. And he's like, no, tell him backup. We need backup. So she says, we need backup, but I still think we need help, It's like, oh my gosh. So then John gets up there super fast, and his crew, they get the guy. Thankfully, he didn't kill him. That way they can try and maybe get some type of answers out of the guy. So then we switch to Alex's POV, and he's in the bathroom. He's so pissed at himself. John's next to him. He's like, are you okay? Like, do you need me to send somebody else in? And he told John, no, I'm never leaving her. And it wasn't just about this mission. Like, dude was dead ass saying, period, he is not giving up Beth. Next morning, she wakes up, alarms going off. It's time for her to get ready for the wedding, but it also means the realization that this is might very well be her last day on earth. So she decides, damn it, I'm going to say what I feel. So when she comes out of the shower, she tells him, after a long speech of how she, I love you. Alex steps back. He's like, you don't mean that. You're just afraid of what might happen today. She says, no, that's not it. It's a part of it. She's like, but what I feel is true. He doesn't say it back, but he's still very much like, I'm going to keep you safe, okay? He's busted up. So she's wondering, like, how is she going to explain this shit? Like, he got a black eye, swollen lip. He fucked up. So he tried to make a joke of it, and he's like, we'll just say you like it rough. So she goes to get her bridesmaid dress. Guess what? There's a bullet hole in it. So she's like, oh, shit. So she takes it, gotta go to see Isabel. Isabel is like, is that a bullet hole? And she's like, no, it's probably just moths. So Isabel, of course, is like, you need to tell me what's going on, and you need to tell me right now. And she's like, nothing's going on, you know? And she's like, no, something is going on. So she told her after the ceremony she would tell her. Thankfully, someone came in to do Isabel's makeup, so she had to go. Um, she's like, I'm serious, you have to tell me. She's like, I will after the wedding. So then her and Alex are going to talk to John for a moment. And so while John and Alex are talking, she stepped off the balcony for a moment just to breathe. Beautiful day for a wedding. Looks down. She sees the guy that she saw in the laundry slash pool room area with Salvatore. So she goes to open her mouth to scream. Nothing comes out. But when she sees his hand going to reach for something, she realizes he's going to take her out right here, right now. And that's when she screams, and Alex is there in like less than a second, and she's like, he's here. So by the time, of course, they look down, dude's gone. And Alex is like, we're going back to your room. Like, we're going back. And John is like, um, she keeps saying, I'm going to the wedding. And they're like, the only way I can keep you safe is if you are in that room. And she's like, no, that's not going to work. And she tells him, the real way you can only keep me safe is if we can be together, be actual lovers. There's no shyness anymore. Girls, like, I'm just going to say it all. They're all like, we got to come to a compromise because we got to draw this guy out. We got to deal with this now. So Alex told her, you got to wear a bulletproof vest. So she looked bulky like a damn linebacker, but it is what it is. So she gets down there. Isabel is freaking out. She's like, that guy's no good. You need to get away from him. And I'm still like, okay, does she know what's going on? And she's trying to get the girl killed. Like, I'm really trying to figure this out. So they do the walk. They get down the aisle. Isabel goes down. Her father gives her to Jordan. The person over the ceremony says, dearly beloved. And then, boom, Beth is shot. She falls back. Alex is in her face when she comes to again. She's been hit, but thankfully she had that bulletproof vest on. But it was such force, that bullet, that it's going to cause some bruising. So, of course, her mom is worried. Mom's like, oh my gosh, all worried about her. But I'm just like, but why would you ever treat your child like shit? Why does your child have to get damn near shot for you to, like, show love and compassion towards your fucking daughter? You know what I mean? Like, how awful. I still don't like her. I don't like her. And she wouldn't leave, Beth's side. But again, I'm like, yeah, it's got to be the most extreme case for you to show affection. Like, good grief. So it's pandemonium. Everyone's running, going crazy. He carries her inside to the lobby. The mother's holding her hand the whole way. He tells the mother, go and get John Ryman. He describes what he looks like. She goes and he's like, I need to get you to the hospital. She's like, she's coherent, but she's just in some pain. So her legs are a little wobbly. So John comes and he's like, he got away. And Alex is pissed because Alex is like, how the hell did he get away when you had everything was supposed to be covered? And John's like, well, there was a hole and he found the hole. Now I'm starting to suspect John some more. Like, I don't trust none of these people at this point. So then they see Salvatore come out and he's got a gun. So now we know it's about to be a shootout. So now people going crazy. So he tells Beth to get upstairs. She can't go through the staircases because somebody already unlocked it. She goes to the elevator and someone's right behind her. So it's the CIA leak. He gets her in the elevator. He tells her, I didn't expect for you to be such a problem to take out. He's like, you have been a lot harder to kill than I expected. So then he gets her, he hits the button to go up, and then he hits the emergency stop button. And Beth decides, if I'm going to go out fighting. And so she, when he was about to come at her, she like bum rushed him against against the wall of the elevator. He hit his head really hard, and then she took the fire extinguisher and hit him with it. He wound up getting a shot off in her arm, but she was still able to like not to beat the shit out of him with that damn fire extinguisher. And then she hit the button to keep the elevator going again, and then as soon as it stopped, Alex was right there. And she's like, that's him, that's the guy. So then they swoop in and they get him. And he, of course, stays with her until the EMT gets there. He will not leave her side. They literally had to tell him when she had to go back for surgery, like, okay, now you got to, like, let her go. So the next few days, she gets so many flowers, and they couldn't say everything about the situation. What they could say was, it was they could say Salvatore, but they couldn't say who she was, and they damn sure couldn't say that it was a damn CIA leak. They did say it was like a local citizen that was able to help with the mission, X, Y, and Z. Beth apologizes to Isabel for everything. She's like, what are you apologizing for? She's like, this was not your fault. She's like, it was my uncle. Like, she said, if anything, she said, I'm sorry for my family. They put you through this. So her and Jordan, they're just going to get married at the courthouse the next Friday. She's like, there are plenty of armed guards there. Alex comes back in the room, and Isabel says to him, she calls him Alex, and she says, what I told you still stands. If you hurt her, I'm coming after you. CIA or whatever, I don't care. And I was glad. I'm like, okay, good. She wasn't a part of it. Because, that would have bothered me. Because I was like, that poor girl, that would have broke her. That's like the one absolute person she trusts. So if that breaks, oh, that's just awful. So Alex is, getting ready to fall asleep. He's going to just sleep in the chair like he's been doing. And she's like, don't do that. Um, it's not a decent bed. Like, you need a really good night's rest. And he's told her, I am never leaving your side again. And he says, how many times do I have to tell you that? And she's thinking, I don't know, maybe 100,000 more times. Maybe then it'll sink in. And that's how it ends. I really like this. I thought this was sweet. This would have made an awesome movie, though. I feel like if they haven't made it, they need to make this. This was really, really good. So I really liked it. If you do want to check out the other books in the Second Service series, they are available by Adrienne Bell. Iman Amiri, I haven't forgot about you. You're coming up. Let me know what you guys think. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know. Also, any suggestions, drop those down in the comments as well. If you are in the market for a beautiful notebook or journal, I do have those available. The links are going to be available down below in the description section. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. We're at 499, almost 500 subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much. Uh, as always, thank you all for tuning in to the Always Reading Book Club.